So Morgan wants to have a party for Michael when he comes home. I told him we should wait and see. I keep thinking about how I wanted to have that party when he came up from the hospital and that didn't turn out so well. I can't believe we're now here. Morgan really believes that Michael's going to come home today after all this, thanks to Dante.
And Dante shouldn't have promised that.
I needed you to hear me out about Michael. I hope when this is all over, you'll understand what I've done and see that I was right.
Wow. You know, I'll give you credit for one thing. You've given a whole new meaning to the word snitch. You've got it down to an art. I mean, first you lied to my kids for months while you were working against their father. Then you lied on the witness stand when you said Sonny didn't shoot you. See, if you would have told the truth then, Michael wouldn't be here right now.
Michael will be fine.
Is that what you told him, to get him to confess that he'll be fine, that he won't go to prison?
Well, he won't. We all know that, but the guilt was tearing him apart. He needed to tell the truth.
Then why didn't you let him tell it? Why did you say something to the judge?
Because as a police officer, it's my job to tell the truth.
When it's convenient for you, right? When it makes you look good? See, if you wanted to tell the truth, you would have turned Michael in the second you brought him back to Port Charles, but you didn't. Why? Because you couldn't wait for another opportunity to grandstand.
Oh, come on, Carly, don't give me that. You could have told the truth a long time ago and saved Michael a whole world of
Really
problems.
gonna talk to Carla that way after you screwed Michael over?
Look, Michael needs to own what he's done. The judge is gonna see that. He's gonna see that he is a victim. He will see that Michael needs a chance to build his life again. And this is the best thing to happen to this kid. I swear to you that
You need to stop talking now, Dante.
So, do you think Diane's gonna have a chance to see Michael before everything starts?
I mean, she'll be able to see him for a few minutes, but I don't think there's gonna be anything she can do.
Do you think he's gonna go to prison? This is wrong. God, this is so wrong.
You know what? No matter what happens, I just want Michael to know that we're all here to support him all the way. Diane, how's Michael?
He wants to make you proud.
Do you have any idea where the judge is going with this?
None whatsoever. But Judge Carroll has a reputation for being fair and thorough. He is seldom overturned on appeal, so whatever the sentence is, it's going to stick.
Okay, what's with Johnny?
He's probably here to make some sort of statement on behalf of Claudia. If you can't,
No.
if you can't handle it, then leave.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
Can't believe that he walks in here with her and he sits over there.
Count to 100.
Yeah.
I wish we could go into the courtroom.
We'd get caught for sure, Morgan. We're as close as we're going to get.
We can surprise Michael when he walks out.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Peter Carroll presiding.
Please be seated. Before we proceed, I will remind you that I will tolerate no interruptions or outbursts of any kind. Bring in the prisoner. Before I pronounce sentence, would anyone from the victim's family care to speak?
I would, Your Honor.
Claudia was a complicated woman.
We were very close, too close, if you ask some people. Claudia was the one person on this earth that I could come to if I ever needed anything. And when Sonny Corinthos tried to have me killed, Claudia sought retribution in order to protect me. She never intended on hurting Michael. I don't really think anybody will ever be able to fully grasp the level of guilt and remorse that Claudia felt as a result of that. Claudia being responsible for Michael's shooting and losing her baby were probably the two worst things that ever happened to her. And, you know, Sonny deliberately and relentlessly whittled away at her sanity that night of the birthday party, and by the time Claudia got to that cabin, there was nothing left. She had gone over the edge. She very easily could have killed Carly and that little baby. Michael showed up. He had to stop her. The kid had no choice.
Excuse me, Mr. Zakara. For my own clarification, you were aware that Michael killed your sister when you swore under oath that Sonny Corinthos killed her. Is that correct?
If you review my testimony, Your Honor, you will see that what I said was Sonny was responsible for Claudia's death, and he is. I testified that Sonny built her up and humiliated her, that if not for Sonny Corinthos and his actions toward my sister, that she never would have kidnapped Carly. She never would have ended up in that cabin that night. I mean, Michael should be the hero in this whole thing. He saved the life of his mother. He saved the life of his little baby sister. Claudia would not want to see Michael punished for this. I know it sounds silly, but if she could, Claudia would forgive Michael for stopping her. Michael is not responsible for the death of Claudia Zakara. Sonny Corinthos is. Claudia could be ruthless. She would panic sometimes and act dangerously or hastily in order to protect herself and me. But she was not evil. And she would never want Michael to suffer for what she did. And for what he did, ultimately. I understand, Your Honor, that you're upset with all of us for gaming the system. But I just hope you don't take it out on the kid. And I'm not telling you how to do your job, but I'm just hoping you can be lenient. Michael was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He never meant to kill my sister. He was acting merely on instinct. And he saved 2 lives in the process.
Thank you, Mr. Zakara. You're a bright, articulate young man. And I hope you turn your life around before we meet in my courtroom under different circumstances. You may step down. Prisoner, please stand up. Be it noted that the prisoner has pleaded guilty and waived his right to a trial. Michael Corinthos III, you have admitted to killing Claudia Zakara Corinthos. Because there was no malice or premeditation and because the victim was in the act of committing a crime, you have been convicted of involuntary manslaughter. The penalty for that is 5 to 20 years. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because of the brain damage you have sustained and the plea from Mr. Zakara, I am inclined to be lenient. My intention is to help you come to understand the seriousness of your actions without completely sacrificing your future as a productive member of society. Michael Corinthos III, I hereby sentence you to 5 years in Pentonville State Penitentiary. You will have the opportunity for parole after 2 years have been served.
No, you can't do this.
No, he did this for me!
You're right, you can't do
Order
this.
in this court. Now sit down and be quiet. Take your seats.
Your
He does not belong in prison.
We are past the point of argument in that particular case, Detective Falconeri.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I brought Michael in here to save him, to get him away from the violence and corruption that he grew up with. He needs community service, counseling, a suspended sentence.
It's too late to negotiate a deal, Detective, now. You know that.
He needs the opportunity to turn his life around, away from Sonny Corinthos.
This sentence will provide him plenty of time to do that.
You know how many enemies his father has in prison? He's going to be a target. If he even survives past that, he's going to be pulled further into the mob. He'll be alienated from society. Please, I'm begging you. I'm not just asking you. Please reconsider your sentence. This boy needs help. He does not need a prison term. Give my brother a chance to build a better life, to build a better future for himself.
Detective Falconeri, while I generally do not tolerate a display of this kind in my courtroom, I am impressed by your respect for the law and your concern for your brother, so I've allowed you to have your say, and now I'm telling you to sit down. Michael, you've taken a human life. There's no worse crime anyone can commit in any society. And you have participated in a cover-up within moments after the crime was committed. Granted, you received terrible guidance and care from people who claimed to love you. And for months you've been under extreme emotional pressure to cover up the fact that you were responsible for your stepmother's death. However, you were not restrained. You were not threatened with violence in any manner. You could have come forward at any time.
I did, Your Honor. Mac didn't believe me.
I presume you mean your off-the-record confession to Commissioner Scorpio.
Yes, sir.
Did you show him the bloody shirt? Did you make any other attempts to confess?
He was following legal advice, Your Honor.
We'll go down that road later, Ms. Miller. Michael, you have grown up surrounded by people who flout the laws the rest of us have to obey. They have given you no guidance. They have systematically exposed you to violence and mayhem of the worst order. There's no question that you have suffered mightily through no fault of your own, and your medical records indicate that you awoke against all odds after being in a coma for a year. But I have deep reservations about how you have lived this life that was so miraculously given back to you. And I would remind Detective Falconeri that it is not the role of the court to provide counseling sessions or guidance, especially not when the criminal is of legal age, though you all seem determined to treat Michael as a child in the eyes of the court. He is an adult. Michael, I hope your time spent in Pentonville will teach you respect for the law. I hope it will prove that actions have consequences. I know it will remove you from the terrible influence of the adults in your life. I would keep them from visiting you if I could. 5 years in prison, with an opportunity for parole in 2, is an extremely light sentence for taking a human life. I hope you will use your time in prison to plan a better life for yourself. I hope you will leave Pentonville with an aversion to being locked up, so you will never break the law again. Michael Corinthos III, you will be remanded into the custody of the Port Charles Police Department and there await transfer to Pentonville Penitentiary.
With all due respect,
ordered.
Your Honor, this is injustice.
The cover-up was your idea, Mr. Corinthos. If you're less than satisfied with the outcome, that's not my problem.
Sorry. I should pay for what happened, not Michael. I made him go along with the cover-up.
Oh, you coerced your son? Were you violent with your son?
No, I would never do that, but I did tell my son that I was proud that he saved his mother and baby sister.
Can't help you, Mr. Corinthos.
He was shot because of me. He lost a year of his life because of me. He was in that cabin because of the bad choices I made in my life. He did not mean to kill Claudia. He was devastated, practically in shock.
Did you seek medical attention for your son that night?
I did not, Your Honor. I brought him home because I felt that was the only place that he would be safe. And I told him that I would take care of him.
Meaning that you could orchestrate a cover-up and force him to go along with it.
I didn't want him punished anymore for saving his mother and baby sister.
Yet you destroyed all the evidence that could have proved that Michael did just that.
I did not want Claudia to harm him any more than she already had. And believe me when I tell you, everybody knows she was not the tragic, misguided soul that her brother described. She was 100% evil who poisoned everything she touched.
Yet you married her.
With a gun to my head, literally, Your Honor. But the fact is that I brought Claudia into Michael's life. I'm responsible for her death. So I'm begging you, please, don't punish Michael for killing her. Punish me.
Mr. Corinthos, I would like nothing more than to send you to prison. And I agree that you are indirectly responsible for your wife's death. But Michael is of legal age. You didn't control him with physical violence. You preyed upon his desperate need to make you proud. Now, that's emotional violence of the highest order. But it isn't against the law, and I can't send you to prison for being a selfish, irresponsible father. The most I can do is get Michael out from under your influence for 2 to 5 years. Michael, I hope during that time you will come to understand that your father is not a person to be admired or emulated. I hope you will take the opportunity to turn your life around. The rest of you, you broke so many laws, I don't know where to start. Perjury, suborning perjury, presenting a case you knew to be false. You have wasted weeks of my time and the taxpayers' money. But I have a backup of real cases to try. So you all watching Michael being brought to justice will have to be punishment enough. Michael will sleep in a jail cell tonight and for many nights to come. And every one of you in one way or another helped to put him there. You think about that tonight. And every night until Michael is released. And I will personally pray that when he is released, he never comes home. Guard, take the prisoner out of my courtroom.
Prison. No! They can't do this! All you did was save your mom and Jocelyn!
There has to be a mistake. Dante promised you wouldn't go to prison.
Dante was wrong.
No!
This court is adjourned.